Today we're talking with Tommy Kraft, a freshman at Albion College and an avid amateur movie maker. Today Tommy's going to talk to us about a fairly new movie art form called machinima. So Tommy, before we get started, can you explain to us a little bit what machinima is all about?
Machinima is basically a movie or any kind of video made in a virtual world on the computer, and it's usually done in real time, which means that you basically go inside a game or any other kind of virtual world on your computer and you film a video with it.
And when you say film, how do you film it? Do you use a video camera? Do you use software? How do you film your video?
You usually use software, because if you film it with a camera looking at the screen, it's going to look pretty bad. So usually what people do is they get in multiplayer games with their friends and they load up some software on their computer, or if they're playing on like an Xbox, they'll hook their Xbox to their computer and then load up software and they'll play the game with their friends and they'll record them acting out scenes and then they'll add in voices later after the fact.
You actually made your own machinima. Before we made your own machinima, can you tell us a little bit about your story and what you did to put that together?
Basically, I found out about the contest and I was like, well, there's money involved, so I can try to win it. So I decided to make the machinima my own. I didn't work with any friends on this one because I didn't have a lot of time, so I just did like a solo project in the game, recording myself, my own character, acting things out, and I also I used some tools with the game to create scenes myself, which is a little more advanced than what most people do by actually creating content for the game itself. And I used some of that and basically put it all together and found someone to voice it and released it.
So you wrote a script for this story. You created your own content, your own story. So to be clear to our viewers, you weren't just playing a game and recording it. You had a script planned out in advance, a story to tell.
Yeah, correct.
And you found someone to voice over, so there was no dialogue in your story, like you and I talking to each other. There was none of that. That was just narrated. Or?
Well, certainly you can do machinima with dialogue. People do it all the time. My story did not have characters speaking to each other. It was completely narrated. Again, so I didn't have time to create multiple characters and facial animations and hire all these actors. So I just I had a brief story and I had a person narrate it instead of having multiple characters with full dialogue and all that.
And did you have music in it, like in a regular movie?
Yeah, I scored it myself.
So you wrote your own music, wrote your own script, found somebody to be your voice actor or your narrator, and then recorded this story using the character in the game to act out your story. Is that right?
Correct, yes.
Well, that sounds very exciting. It's a very interesting field. If you think about it in terms of education, you're a freshman in college. Can you think of ways in which machinima might be used in a classroom environment and what students might learn through using machinima?
Well, you could, in film schools or any kind of media class, you could use it as a quick way to do an intro to film and film techniques, because even though you're not using a real camera in your hand, you still use a lot of the same techniques from machinima. You're just doing it virtually.
So when you say the same techniques, what kind of techniques are you talking about?
Composition, framing, writing, scoring, editing, directing. All the same processes that you do in real film are there in machinima. You just do them on the computer, sometimes over the internet or over a local network with people in the same room.
Well, that's very interesting. So do you think even outside of film school, machinima might help a student, even maybe not a college student, but a high school or elementary student, learn things perhaps like how to work on a team, or to just understand the basics of what it takes to put a video together?
Yeah, definitely. It would depend on the project and how advanced you wanted to get. As a director myself, everything has to be perfect. It has to be cinematic when I do it. But I can definitely see how like a high school teacher could assign a project and a group of students could go into a game and film it and create something with very good results. Certainly you don't have to be ridiculously skilled with any one game or computers to do it. There's a lot of simplified ways out there to make machinima.
So in today's digital environment, would you say that machinima then is a great way for the aspiring filmmaker to get their feet wet, so to speak? Because they don't have to worry about actors or finding space out in the backyard or somewhere to film their story. They can tell their story in these virtual worlds and still learn a lot of the techniques of film.
That's what I did. A lot of times when you want to get into film, there's always debates about what camera to buy and are you buying the right camera, are you buying the right sound equipment, or do you have enough people to operate all your equipment? And in machinima, you don't have to worry about any of that.
Well, thank you, Tommy, for sharing a little bit about machinima with us, and we'll look forward to seeing your next production online soon.